Well, hello there. I didn't see you come in. Sorry, that was fun. Anyway, hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hitting the Wall. I am Kyle Walker. It is, Tuesday, October 29th. Yeah, it's October. And if you're here in Kansas City, you know what's about to happen to us. As we're sitting here still in October, we've got a winter storm heading our way. It's like fall just decided it was done. Fall said, enough of this nonsense. I'm out of here. It's gone. And so now winter is firmly taking over because it is just stinking cold out there and we've got snow on the way. So that's just ridiculous. I did learn a new thing today, which I thought was really cool. I wanted to share with everyone. I didn't know that there were different layers or different levels of winter storm. I knew there was winter storm warnings and winter storm advisories, but what I have found today, and this will change my life forever, is that the storm that's coming our way is very high on the French toast scale. Yes, the storm coming is high on the French toast scale. Have you heard of this? This was all new to me. So what is the French toast scale, you might ask? The old joke is that before a storm, everyone runs to the grocery store and they basically, get in fist fights with old ladies trying to load up on what? Milk, eggs, and bread, right? Well, come to find out, those are the ingredients you need for French toast. So that's why everyone raids the stores before a big winter storm. So this storm coming in is high on the French toast scale, meaning that you have to go tackle the little old ladies to make sure you get your bread, milk, and eggs. Who knew? I mean, this was all new to me. So I was super happy to figure this out. So anyway, I thought that was hilarious. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. So what we're going to talk about here this fine evening, and we may or may not go the full half hour, who knows, is I want to do a couple things. I want to kind of finish the discussion that we started last week. People responded really well to last week's show on being burned out, so the show on burnout. And so I wanted to kind of relate it to what we normally talk about on this show, and that is more the relational side, relationships, marriages, even long-term relationships, the dating world, the single life, and things like that. So I wanted to take a look personally at burnout within a relationship, and what I found was actually pretty interesting. And of course, it's not like this is a big new discovery, and I'm going to impart some sort of wisdom on you that you didn't know. But I think these things are really good to go over, because what I found were kind of the top 7 from various different sources, the top 7 signs of burnout in your relationship. And if you're married or if you're in a long-term situation, I am willing to bet money that when I go through all 7 of these, you're gonna have to take a moment, listen to one, and go, oh, this might pertain to me a little bit. And again, I'm not saying that if this has happened, if you are experiencing what I'm going to mention to you, that all hope is lost and you might as well just pack it in. That's not the case at all. But I do think it's very important that we hear these things and let it kind of enter our brains and to marinate a little bit, and then you can kind of decide on your action plan on how you're going to solve this. Because burnout in a relationship is a very real thing. After reading through all this stuff today, I found that, boy, back when I was married, I kind of fit the T on a lot of these things, which if I had known then what I know now, maybe there would have been time to change things. By the time that this all kind of hit me square in the face, too late, damage done. Here I am, almost 10 years later. So let's just talk real quick about the signs of burnout in a relationship. And so again, if this pertains to you, just kind of, take it into your mind and let it roll around in there for a little bit, because this is kind of important stuff. So the first one I found is when, and I like the way they word some of these, those cute little quirks aren't so cute anymore. And I've seen this in, a lot of the different situations that I've been over the span of my many years. Originally when you get involved with someone, they have that little quirk to them, that little something. You're like, oh man, that's so cute. I love it when you do that. And then, when you're starting to get burned down on a relationship, it's more like nails on a chalkboard. So what it said on this one was, remember how cute it was when she always picked the little bits of bell peppers out of the salad with her fork and put it to one side before starting. And then now it's more like, eat the freaking salad, you sociopath. All right, what you think? You're too good for that crunchy, delicious nutritiousness of pepper. And so I thought that was a great example. But that's one of the signs. Like, if something that you thought was cute before, now it just annoys the living hell out of you. Okay, maybe that's a sign that you might be getting just a little burned out on the relationship. And again, not all hope lost. Something you want to think of. Another one, and this is like a no duh, but this is listed across the board on so many things. One of the signs that you're burned out on who you're with, you've stopped talking. Yes, you know you need to be talking. You know it's the only way to fix what's wrong, but you've tried so many times and you're just essential to the relationship that the lack thereof can be a sign that the relationship is on its way out. So communication. If your communication has turned to crap, if you do not talk anymore, even though you know that you should, okay, oh man, we really have a problem. Like there's an issue between us. We need to talk about this, but you don't. That's a sign that you're already starting to check out of the relationship or the situation that you're in. Did this one have my name on it way back when I was married? This one right here had my name on it because we stopped talking, and the checking out was occurring over on the other side of that fence. So that was a huge one. I read that, and the little light bulb screwed in above my head, and click, click. Oh, illuminated. So that was another big one of a burnout in the relationship. And then another one, which I think is a no-brainer, but I like the way that they word this. Number 3 is, you're always fighting. When you're at the end of your rope, it's easy to pick a fight over everything. Relationship expert, and they credit Deborah Rogers, explains, you're done when, quote, your relationship has turned into war games. You're lobbing insults, rude remarks, or are constantly in competition. Little things that used to bother, and this, she says, him, have now turned into colossal aggravations. It seems that everything you do annoys him. And of course, that is not fun. That's another one. That's a big one. That wasn't something in my marriage so much, but in a long-term relationship that I had after it. What starts is just, the little playful jabs. Well, when the burnout has fully set in, those aren't playful anymore. They're not, almost, out of love or endearment. That's more like warning sign. That's shots fired. Take cover because they're coming in hot. And that's something, and I've seen that in other people too. I've seen that in other couples where it wears the mask of this playful banter, but that behind it is just all the venom in the world. And so that's definitely something big. And I've seen that. I've been in that. I've seen that in others. And then here they rank it number 3. I think that that's kind of ranked number 1. And in our society nowadays, which is just so keen on snarkiness and sarcasm, I think this one should be bumped up the list to number 1, because it's just we've all seen it. We've all seen it. I don't know why I'm explaining it. You're sitting there nodding right now if you've been listening to this whole thing, going, yeah, I've seen that probably in my situation and in other people's situations. And so that's a big one. So that always fighting, and then that just what started as maybe a playful little again, I don't want to say a playful insult, because insults are never playful, but just that little quirk that you would kind of, maybe make a little joke at, a little sarcastic joke, now becomes something that you're just full blown, I'm going to try and break this person because of the way that I'm feeling right now. So that's number 3 is the always fighting. Number 4, again, if you're just hopping in, this is relationship burnouts. We talked about burnouts last week. This is burnouts within a relationship, getting married, long-term situation, whatever. So number 4, this is one I think this will raise a few eyebrows. You come up with excuses not to spend time together. And again, I'm quoting a doctor here. This is Dr. Debbie Hebernick, and she said, every relationship is a balance of time spent together and time spent alone. which we all sort of know from personal experience. Okay, and the alone time is really important. Let me say that again. Alone time in a relationship is really important. I agree with that 100%. I said verbal filler. Oh, I'm so sorry. So alone time is really important. But if spending time together makes you feel annoyed or tired, or if you find yourself just straight up avoiding it, it's a sign something is wrong. Maybe sometime alone will allow you to recharge, or maybe you're just over it. That is a big one, because we've all had what we call nowadays those clingy significant others, where you can't get alone time. You cannot get a minute or two to yourself. Let's say, and I don't mean to sound vulgar here, you can't even use the John without getting a text from the person who might be in the next room. Okay, we've had that. So it's a big deal. You need alone time. I've always said that you need alone time. And again, that's not time out. That's not, getting drunk at the bar. That's not hitting on your bartender. No, you just need some time alone. Play around the golf, watch a movie by yourself, whatever your situation can be. But that's that's a big one. That the spending time together. If the thought of spending time with your significant other does anything but make you happy or bring you some sort of joy, then I'd say you've got a little bit of a problem there. Here, number 5 is interesting. Can't personally relate to it, but I found it interesting. Number 5 here on the relationship burnout. Your eye is wandering. Okay, now hold on a second. I know some people say, whoa, you shouldn't have wandering eyes if you're in a relationship. Well, here's how they explain it. So your eye is wandering. Some people may disagree, okay, but I think a wandering eye is totally normal and even healthy. People have different boundaries for what is cheating, but it would just seem ludicrous for me, and this is that doctor talking, it'd be ludicrous for me to pretend you don't find other people attractive, but if it's gone beyond what's normal for you, and there's the gray area, if you're constantly fixating on other people, flirting, and imagining running off with the barista, you may have mentally signed off from your current relationship. Okay, part of that makes sense. Yes, it doesn't matter who I'm walking down the street with. If the smoking hot perfect 10 is walking by me, oh, you know what? I might glance real quick. It's going to happen. It has happened. It will happen again. Okay, I get that. Now, am I fantasizing about running off with said woman? No, because for all I know, she's a complete chore. I don't know. I'm a complete chore. But anyway, so again, I understand that there might be some gray area in this one. This is just, in their opinion. So I'll let you guys kind of decide what you think about that particular one. That's number 5, your eye is wandering. Number 6, we won't go into personal details on this one. I'm still trying to keep this a family show. But it is here. Number 6 is the sex is just meh. So despite trying to spice things up, okay, sex lives have their ups and downs, okay? Completely normal, but not an excuse for having bad sex. And you should be aware of a random change. And another doctor says, if your sex life has gone from 60 to 0, it is a bad sign that your relationship is on the fritz. You should absolutely try to get it back on track and mix things up, but sometimes if it's gone, it's gone. Again, without diving into too many personal details here, I can say that in the beginning part of my life, the whole if it's gone from 60 to 0, that is spoketh to me. It spoketh to me right here. I understand what they're saying there. Maybe I've had personal experience with that, maybe not. Again, family show, or at least trying to keep it that way-ish. But that's another one. And I've preached this to people before, to the married couples I know, to anyone who will listen to me. And I'll keep this politically correct as I can. Sex is an insanely important part of any relationship. And to pretend that it's not is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I will say this, in my past life, so before I became 30 years old and single, in my past life, That was a point of contention between the ex and I, was the physical aspect of our relationship. I felt it was not where it needed to be. Okay. I felt that it needed to be more frequent, shall we say. She disagreed. Okay. She was happy with where it was at. To the point, we went to a church and they were going to do this whole biblical speaking arrangement, or engagement, I'm sorry, about the importance of sex in marriage. About right out of the gates, maybe 30 seconds into this, both the pastor and the pastor's wife, who were doing this thing together, were basically standing on their chairs saying sex is insanely important in a marriage. And it's biblical, it's fine, do your thing, have fun, go wild. So that kind of blew up in the ex's face, but still, they've said it, I said it, it is important. And again, for men, it's a source of pride. The fact that anyone would want to do something like that with us, the way that we look, because there is absolutely nothing attractive about a man's body. But hey, if you want to see it naked anyway, let your guy know, because that will absolutely thrill him to no end. So there we go. There's my little spiel on sex. But yes, sex, insanely important in a marriage. Okay. Let's see here. Last one for the relationship burnout. And let's see, if talking about the future makes you queasy. As someone who can get jumpy about future plans, I totally understand a bit of commitment phobia. But if you've been with someone a long time and suddenly the idea of planning a weekend away in a few months makes you uneasy, it's probably a warning sign. Better to get out than to commit to something you don't want to do. I have personal experience with that. Again, this is post-divorce dating relationship nonsense. I'm not equating it to a marriage. But yeah, there was a time where seeing someone, the future planning really started to make me uneasy. The whole, wow, we're planning stuff really far out. And to be totally honest, yeah, I'm kind of not feeling this. Again, nothing against that person. But, and this might be a bunny trail. I might be going off track here, but listen, in the whole post-divorce single dating world, people take such offense when a relationship doesn't work out. Let's be really honest. After a failed marriage, you are looking for something that is going to fit you for the rest of your days. You're not just going to happen across that on the first attempt. Sometimes you're going to have to go through, this sounds bad, go through some people. Okay, you're going to have to meet, you're going to have to see what you like and what you don't like. And you're trying to build this perfect model of what the rest of your life is going to look like. And no, I don't mean some silicone-based entity. I mean, I want this in a person, I want this in a person. Okay, you have this that I don't want, so I'm going to subtract that away. That's what we're doing in this post-divorce life. So no, not every relationship is going to work. Not every situation is going to be perfect. You might invest some time in someone, and then one or the other decides, you know what, this just ain't going to quite work. This isn't exactly what I'm looking for. And if I've got to settle for something that, is supposed to last me for the rest of forever, it's got to be what I want this time. I've had my one failed experience, not going in for round two. So I'm going to be a little picky this time. And so some people get really bent out of shape about that. Let's see here. I got to check the chat room real quick because I see James said something. That's why I never go 15. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, sorry, James, you nut. Anyway, enjoy all the snow in Colorado. Thanks for sending it our way, you jerk. So that is what I wanted to jump into on the relationship burnout, because I just thought that was, after last week, it was a good way to piggyback off of that. Now I want to tell you a story. Okay, we're switching gears, so we can go ahead and close the chapter of relationship burnout. But I want to tell you about what I was doing yesterday, which was actually really cool. So a gentleman is thinking of starting a podcast, and we have a mutual friend. So he posted on his Facebook page, "Hey everyone, I want to start a podcast." Our mutual friend said, "Hey, you should powwow with Kyle and talk about podcasting." And so we did. So yesterday I went down to the plaza and I had coffee with a guy who wanted to start his own podcast. I wanted to, impart any wisdom that I may or may not have. I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means. What do I call myself? The idiot with the microphone. That's me. But what happened was we sat in there and talked for 2.5 hours. We talked podcasting, we talked life, we talked experiences, we talked politics, we talked religion. We covered everything across the board in this 2.5 hour meeting. again, where we're just supposed to meet through a mutual friend and talk about podcasting. But what was really cool, and what I really want to get to is, okay, so this guy is very well connected in the Kansas City area. Between all of his different social medias, I mean, he's got pretty much a wealth of about 10,000 people, he thinks, that are going to be, kind of ready and rearing to go when he launches this podcast. So he's big in this area. Local celebrity. I'm not, but he is. And so his podcast is going to be huge. I have no doubt. He's got connections. His podcast is going to blow up. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to sit here and tell you about it because that is not my responsibility. That's him. I have invited him to come on this show. He sounds very interested in the opportunity. Be kind of a good test run for him. So I'm going to try and have him on before he launches in 2020. But what we talked about was maybe the start of a potential kind of a podcast network. And what I think is really cool about this is it's going to be kind of a network of like these shared voices. So like if you've been listening to my show, whether it had been the old show of Walking with God, or if you're listening to this one, Hitting the Wall, and maybe you're just not getting out of it what you want. Maybe it's just not quite your thing. No offense taken, trust me. This appeals to a certain audience. Well, maybe then I can say, hey guys, don't forget, tune in to Timmy's show next week, or over here, and maybe he's got the voice that you want to listen to, and vice versa. If maybe someone's watching his show and thinking, we haven't exactly walked the same path, well, maybe he'll, kind of say, but hey, over here, my buddy Kyle's doing Hitting the Wall, and let's say you're, single adult, divorced, whatever, single parent, maybe you'll get a little more out of him. So it's just this kind of what I'm hoping will be kind of a cool collaboration of just kind of pointing people in the right direction and getting them the voice that they need. What I found really funny, though, is someone, when I told them about this, said to me, well, dude, don't you think you're basically like coaching your competition? That one got to me. My competition? No. Look, there is no competition in helping someone else start a podcast. I don't think that's the case at all. What I believe is I'm helping people just hear another voice. They need to hear, the voice that speaks to them, because it might not be mine. And I think it's really important. And that's the message I want to put out, is to encourage everyone to use their voice. Okay, whether it's a podcasting voice, whether it's a singer, a writer, an artist, it's important to find your voice. Okay, no one else can say the things that you can say. No one else can share the stories that you can share. No one else can relay the experiences that you've had. Okay, they can't put out the knowledge you possess, and they can't put out your passion because they're not you. Okay, no one can sit in this chair and do Hitting the Wall like I can. Okay, they can't tell you my stories. They can't relay my experiences. They can tell their stories and they can relay their experiences. And over the summer, when I opened this up to anyone who wanted to try it, it wasn't, do this as me. It was do it as you. You, do your thing, get it out for the world. And maybe you'll find that passion. Maybe you'll decide, whoa, podcasting is awesome. This is what I want to do. Or maybe you wanted to get on here and sing, or maybe you want to get on here and show off your paintings. I'm good with any and all of that, because it's important for us as people to get our voices out there, because you never know who needs to hear it. You never know who needs to hear your story, your experience. Goodness knows I've done 2 years of this. In 2 weeks, it's my 100th episode. So 100 times I've gotten on here and squawked at you guys about what I think and what I feel and what I've experienced and what I've been through. So I am super excited to help him get started. I think he's going to do great. And it's the idea of this whole little network sounds really appealing to me. So if you have the chance to help anyone find their voice and bring it to the people who might need it, okay, I'm on board. I'm on board with doing that, and I will help you in any way that I can in my very limited capacity. Okay, and I found this cool quote, and we're going to break it down here. But what it says, and this is by Diana Hardy. The quote is, "It only takes one voice at the right pitch to start an avalanche." Okay, it only takes one voice at the right pitch to start an avalanche. think metaphorical avalanche. I don't actually mean snow coming off of a mountain, but it could be my voice. It could be Joe's voice. It could be Timmy's. It could be Katie's. It could be Rob's. It could be Josh's. It could be Greg. It could be Jason. It could be Ethan. It could be Bryson. It could be Amy. It could be the Salty Dogs. Okay. All of these people have been on this show. They all offer their voices. Then anyone could listen to their voice, and it could start the avalanche of their life. And whether that be, it could bring them to, in Joe's case, he'll bring you to Jesus. In Bryson's case, he'll bring you to community service. In Amy's case, she'll bring you to women's ministry. In Ethan's case, he'll bring you to understanding the young people of today. Whatever the situation is, that voice can be the avalanche, can cause the avalanche that gets you to where you ultimately need or want to go. And if any of them or if any of me can make that happen, we're on board, man. Totally on board with this. I am about it. You let me know. And it just takes one voice to reach the heart of one person, and it can just change their life. So that is where I'm going to leave it. Okay. So yeah, this chair is always open. Like, for serious. I'll take a week off. I'll sit here and watch from the side. If you want to try and get your voice out there, this platform is available to you. You don't have to try and be Kyle Walker. I want you to do you, and you might be able to speak to someone that I would never be able to reach. And ultimately, that's what it's about. That's what I want to happen. That's what I want the legacy of this show, however long it lasts, to be. Again, I've said it before, one person. If I help one person a week, if one person a week pulls something out of this mess and says, you know what, that spoke to me, then I'll be back next week. That's what I'll do. But on the flip side of that, I actually won't be back next week. Sitting right here in this chair is going to be our buddy Joe. He will be live in studio, but he's running his own episode of Hitting the Wall. I'm not even going to be here. I'm going to be off. I'm elsewhere. I got to call a basketball game for MNU because the basketball season kicks off this Thursday. They've got a game next Tuesday night. I'm going to do my basketball thing. Joe is going to be holding down the fort right here, and I think it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. So I hope you guys will log on, get into the chat room and really light him up. Give him a very hard time because, why not? It's fun. I do it all the time. So that is going to be next week's Hitting the Wall with Joe. If you are here in the Kansas City area, seriously, be safe with whatever this weather nonsense that's coming in, because, could our meteorologists have all swung and missed? Yep, happened before. It'll happen again. But I get a feeling we might get a little junk coming, and we're not ready for that. It's only October. And then, like I say a lot now, like, comment, share. That's the only way this show grows. Like, comment, share. I'm not making enough to boost this thing out with funds, given in to the few people who still contribute. Of course, I thank you so much. However, it's not enough that I can farm this out to a lot of places. So you guys have to carry the lion's share of this load. Like, comment, share. Invite people to the page if you want. That would be super duper. So, hey, work on finding your voice. I offer you this platform if that's what you want to do. If you need to do it through music, do it through music. If you need to do it through art, do it through art. If you need to do it through writing, do it through writing. I used to think writing was what I was best at, and then I started podcasting. I might actually be better at this, or I might be terrible. Who knows? Anyway, be really safe. Don't text and drive because it's getting ridiculous out there. The weather's going to make it even worse. I will see you in 2 weeks for my 200th episode. 200th? I'm sorry, I messed it all up. 2 weeks for my 100th episode. Math is fun. And I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to do something. I'll get it figured out. So anyway, hey, good night, everybody. Be safe out there, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Come give Joe a hard time next week. Peace.